Welcome to part 3 of Why Teach Vocabulary with JaneDiner, science consultant.
And David Evans, social studies consultant.
Well, last webcast we demonstrated a strategy for you on how to introduce vocabulary to your students. This webcast we will look at a strategy where students will work with the vocabulary that you have introduced.
To do this, we're going to use a strategy called the Frayer Model. And we're going to use it today as a way to activate prior knowledge or information. So Jane, I'm going to use a social studies concept or term, and I'm going to assess or test your knowledge of this particular concept.
I'm a science teacher, Jim.
Yeah, but you're a very smart science teacher, so I'm sure you'll be able to handle this task. So first of all, I'd just like you to define communism in your own words.
Well, I guess I might say common ownership.
That would be correct.
Oh, thank goodness. That's
Very
all I
good.
really know. Okay, what's next, David?
Well, next you'd have to come up with some characteristics, but today we're only going to come up with one.
Okay, well, I
'Cause
guess.
we're going to let you off the hook.
Oh, thank you. I might think that it might be a classless society.
You are correct again.
Oh, I'm good. Is that one word, David?
Yes, that would be one word,
Okay,
Jane.
no classes, no classes. All right, so now what does examples from your own life mean, David?
Well, for this area, you could have the students look for, personal connection. So, for example, if the term was dictator, they could say, well, you know what, at times maybe my hockey coach acts like a dictator. It could also be, examples that are connected to the concept. So, could be the former Soviet Union.
Okay,
The other
well,
thing
David,
too,
let's say I really don't know, and I don't know anything from my own life. Would it be okay if I went to the web and maybe picked up a picture?
absolutely.
Oh, you know what? I happen to have one. Here's
Ooh,
one.
and that is an excellent picture, and which could also be used as a source to develop source-based questions.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
we always have to be mindful of copyright laws.
Yes, and we would be. Now, how about non-examples from my life?
Well, again, non-examples, same as examples from your life could be a non-example from the student in terms of a personal connection, or it could be the course in Canada would be a good example.
Okay, good.
Both, and that would fit both categories, obviously.
Excellent. All right,
Yeah,
well, this is kind of cool because I kind of have an understanding, and you're going to help me develop this further, right?
absolutely.
Oh,
The other thing I just want to point out before we move on is the fact that this could be used, how we used it today, as a pre-assessment. It could be also used as a, formative assessment. You're checking for understanding along the way. So as students deepen their understanding. It could also be used as a summative assessment for your major terms and concepts that you would have the students uncover.
all right, thanks, Dave. And the Frayer model can be used as an activity with your kids later. For example, in this particular activity, it's a science activity where they look at science words like erosion. You could have another group doing glaciation or weathering. They create the same four strands and then they cut them up and get together in groups and see if they could piece it back to make sense based on the knowledge that they had used.
That's an outstanding strategy, and you could use that in social studies as well. I mean, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I mean, you could have communist, you could have a market economist, you could have fascist, maybe even a modern liberal or a classical liberal, and do the same thing, and be a great activity.
Great
Very
strategy
engaging.
for the Frayer model. And some websites to support you in these graphic organizers, such as the Frayer model, is the Interactive Graphic Organizer. And if you go to this link, you'll see there are a whole bunch of downloadable graphic organizers that you can use in your class. So that's an option. And then we have some tools for creating comic strips if kids are going to create images that way in the
Very
Frayer
engaging.
model. Right.
And I know from experience, students love the comic strips and making comics with the vocabulary words.
So there you go. Thank you for listening to our part 3 of Why Teach Vocabulary. Stay tuned for our next webcast.
See you next time.
It'll engage students further. Bye-bye.